Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Discord and Discuss. Today we will be talking about Bad Batch episodes 1 through 4. Before we start, we just want to say there will be some spoilers as we are going to be diving deep into these first 4 episodes of this season. So, we'll be discussing episode 1 titled Aftermath. I will read the synopsis. Before the end of the Clone Wars, while the Bad Batch defective clones Hunter, Tech, Crosshair, and Wrecker, plus cyborg clone Echo, are assisting Jedi Master Deepa Bilapa and her Padawan Caleb Dume on Kalar. Order 66 is issued, and Bilapa is killed by her clones. The Bad Batch receive the order too, but only Crosshair feels compelled to obey it. And Hunter lets Dume escape. Returning to Kamino, the Bad Batch learn that the war is over, that an empire has replaced the Republic, and they meet a young girl, Omega, who is another defective clone. Admiral Tarkin arrives to evaluate the clone's viability and sends the Bad Batch to eliminate a group of insurgents on Onderon. When they discover that these insurgents are actually fugitives under Saw Gerrera who refuse to submit to the new empire, Hunter has his men abandon the mission and return for Omega. They are arrested for treason, and Tarkin has Crosshair's inhibitor chip enhanced, turning him against his squad mates and forcing the Bad Batch and Omega to flee without him.
I just say I completely forgot Caleb was in this. Not Caleb. Caleb was in this episode.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, Caleb Doom, right? Or as some people might know him, Kanan Jarrus, right? I like that little cameo in there, and I also like how we have another Order 66 scene. What's
Wait, okay, one. Thank you guys for being Star Wars geniuses. So I got you guys on here to like help me with like the whole lore. I only know a bit.
Yeah, I'm the one to come for Star Wars, not so much Marvel. Marvel's more you.
But especially and then my second thing was, where do you want to like start? Like, do you want to start from the beginning and gradually grow with the episode as well?
Can I just say that whole training, the whole training sequence with Tarkin like grading them, not grading. I love that sequence. I also thought that was really cool. Showed off all their skills and stuff. I think it was a great way to show like all the combat in an episode that like wasn't combat focused. They were trying, so it was like a way for, so we could go look. Here's an episode that's an hour and 15 minutes long, and there's not much combat. It's all story, but we'll give you a little bit here just so you know what it's like for the rest of the series. I liked that. I thought that was good.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was very cool. Also, another thing I want to point out is, at the start where we have Caleb, that little cameo. Notice how his master dies to save him, right? It comes full circle.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Is it like Rebels, like a Rebels reference?
Yeah, it comes full circle. He does the exact same thing to save his Padawan Ezra in Rebels. But I just want to appreciate how they did that. How they made Kanan's master die to protect him, and then have him come full circle and do that for his Padawan as well.
Yeah, I will say this because I'm trying to think of it from like start to finish. I like the beginning because it was like your kind of fun action, but it was a way that introduces you to the Bad Batch once again to show that these guys are. It shows that these guys are a unit. They work together.
One thing I must say about this is that so the thing is, we first meet the Bad Batch in season 7 of Clone Wars, right? Those first 4 episodes. That's where we first meet those four. Well, four at the time because they were, well, okay, yeah, you get the idea. But for some people, they haven't seen season 7, right? So I just feel like with Crosshair's betrayal, if you could call it that, I feel like they should have kept that out until like episode 2 or episode 3 later on, like not straight at the first episode, because that doesn't make him feel as much as part of the squad as like the people who have seen him with the squad in Clone Wars. Like, does that make sense? Hold on, wait, let me try to rephrase that. So the people that have seen Crosshair like in Clone Wars, they know that they learn that he is part of the squad, and then which makes his betrayal hit even harder in episode 1. But some people would just skip straight to the Bad Batch. I know my brother did that, and like he can't see Crosshair as part of the squad because he thinks he just left on like really early. But I just feel like that They could have delayed his betrayal a little bit back.
Crosshair's character is good for you. You don't need to show, because you already show that the Bad Batch is a group of clones. These guys are like off the books. They are defective, so they don't obey the rules. And you can see that in terms of like the way they fight. They all are independent, but yet there's that sense of unity when it comes to them fighting with one another. But I also like that you don't need like he turned like Crosshair turned like from 0 to 100 real quick. No, the episode kind of flushes out Crosshair before his ultimate type of transformation, because Crosshair and Hunter, those two were like the main kind of highlight characters of the show, because it shows how Hunter's a leader, but at the same time he's being questioned with every serious action that he's taken, and it also acts as a way to question Hunter's leadership in a world where there's no more war. What can you do?
Yeah, I still want Crosshair to come back.
I know, right? Yeah, he's super cool.
I'll say this: Crosshair ain't like, to me, like I get Crosshair is like the cooler, like he's like the cooler guy of the group because of the way he looks. But honestly, that dude looks like a stupid clown. Honestly, who asked you to? Okay, okay. Let me tell you this: your name is Crosshair, right? And you had to be really on the nose with that, because just to prove your point that your name is Crosshair, you literally have a target tattooed on your right eye. Like, bro, who does that?
I just really want Crosshair to come back. I just really want him back because he's so cool. Especially now we're at episode 10. I know we're not supposed to be talking about it, but like he seems too far gone. I really hope not. But
Yeah, I know. But that's all we're gonna say because we can't talk about that stuff yet.
No, Hunter. At least I like Hunter's tattoo because it has like that. It reminds me such of like Two-Face. It has the Two-Face vibe.
Oh yes, I very like that as well.
yeah, I think Wrecker and Tech are cool as well, though. I like them.
Hunter's my favorite character because he just looks like Rambo to me.
I mean, they're all pretty cool. I also feel like I'm okay. So I must say, Echo in his prime was when it was an ARC trooper, right? In Clone Wars. I'm not saying like they trashed Echo's character in Bad Batch, but like
They definitely did. He's no longer like a key character.
Because I like the fact that Echo's almost a bridge between like human and tech, like almost like your human characters, but your genius characters. Like he's a mix of tech, but I would say he's also a mix of Hunter because of the fact he's like more human, so he's like he shoots and all that stuff. But also Echo's the kind of guy that can also help behind the scenes with like his, you know how he has that wrist, like his right wrist has like the what's that? It's a device. Even the droids have it.
Oh, right, yeah. The droid screw thingy. Yes, yeah. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, to like help open doors and like get into information thing. Okay, now we can segue into because we've talked about the beginning portion. We've gone a bit out of place, but I want to like shift towards the fact when they arrive on Camino, and I like stuff on Camino because it kind of shows how weird and how kind of unsettling it is for the Imperial transition. And before we get to the whole announcement with Palpatine announcing the fact that it will be reorganized into a galactic empire, and you get Hunter going, "New galactic empire." Yeah, because of the fact like even Palpatine goes, "I was killed. Like the Jedi tried to kill me." Like he was trying to manipulate everyone because all the clones were already manipulated.
the thing is, they were already manipulated. He's just enforcing that.
And even the defect clones, even for them, they're almost unsettled as to, wait, this wasn't a part of the program.
It's so haunting as well.
But that scene was like one of the highlights for me.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about Omega? The elephant in the room.
The Omega in the room. Well, I guess we could say after that conference, right? Wait, when does Omega get introduced? Because I think it's after the conference.
In the hallway.
Oh yeah, in the hallway. There's a bit in the hallway. Yeah.
Because I remembered it was after the conference with Palpatine just announcing Galactic Empire. They're off, like, I don't know, they're off to the canteen, I think. They bump into Omega, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Omega," and all that sort of stuff. So the Hunter with the stereotypical line of, "You don't want to join us, for we're bad." Like, we're just kind of like, just don't stay out of our lanes. So her character, we'll touch on her character a bit, but I feel like for the start, well, this first quarter, you'll get my general consensus was that she was just pretty weak. She was kind of like the whole Clone Wars and all. They had that child, like they weren't too violent, but Clone Wars every now and then stabbed someone or shot someone, and you did see where they shot or killed. But here they're trying to tone that down, so like it's only the grunts that die.
Don't they have like a food fight or
A
something?
stupid food. They have a childish food fight, and that's when you see Tarkin. Oh yeah, but before the episode, before that whole sequence, Tarkin's already coming in, right? If I'm not mistaken, Tarkin comes in and he's like evaluating with the Kaminoans, and he's like, "Oh, the Prime Minister." We'll get to him in later episodes because that.
Yeah, and then that leads into the whole Kaminoan plot and everything.
Can't say anything there.
But the thing is, Grand Moff Tarkin, man, he does not like clones. You just get the fact that he's straight to the point with the Kaminoans. Like, we're shutting down your project. We don't want clones. We don't want anything. We want to, because apparently this is when, like, because the show is making it clear that the Galactic Empire is starting to have its control over the masses. So they're all like doing the best they can. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me on this, that Admiral Tarkin is trying to push forward with recruiting soldiers from other planets instead of the clone projects.
Yeah, I know. To become what are known today as stormtroopers.
If I'm not mistaken, after the canteen scene, we get the whole like Echo. He sees Tarkin up in the building, and then they all get KO'd. So Echo gets KO'd. They meet him after the hospital. They meet him in the medical bay, and then they exit, and they have like the little scene with Omega going, "I want to join you guys," but then Hunter's like, "You don't want to join us, kid." After the medical bay stuff, that's when they get the training sequence.
Yeah, they think they're getting punished, and then they're like, "Nope, training."
Yeah, I liked that scene.
I just really like watching them work together as a group, which we got a lot of in the Clone Wars, and I just wish we got more of those five working together in the Bad Batch because it was pretty epic.
I think in this like one scene, the training sequence as well, it really highlights the fact that hey, these guys are like they are a unit. These guys, yeah, despite their differences, they all have this sense of unity. The fact that they're all in sync when they're in that kind of particular mode. Even when they first start out, right? You see how things are like easy for them. It's like a run of the mill type of like standard operation. But as Tarkin like pretty much puts insta kill mode for all the robots, they have to like step up the game, and even under like such dire circumstances, these guys still have a way to pull through, and they're like, "Hey guys, let's do this." Even like in the scene, even when Hunter like he's like pretty much being a leader. He's like even communicating to his group, "Hey," like when he does the hand signs and Wrecker doesn't understand it.
And I also love how he knows the strengths and weaknesses of every person of the team. So he knows who to do what. He'll be like, Crosshair, go get the towers. Echo and Tech, you two go off, and yeah, it's just so cool to watch.
That scene as well when they show Tech like he programs one of the Death Troopers.
Yes, it is. Okay, sorry, hold on. I wanted to talk about that. So the Death Troopers that we see in The Mandalorian, these are the first generation of them. Sorry, not Death Troopers, Dark Troopers. My bad. These are the Dark Troopers. The Death Troopers are actual people. Dark Troopers are the robots. These are the first generation of them, and we see them later on in The Mandalorian.
Right? Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing sketches of them, and like the one with the white, it was like the smaller white modeled version. These were the ones that appeared in this one, this training sequence, with the whole like they're all shooting. But I will say this: the ending, I like the way they were about to end it, and then like Hunter throws the knife, Crosshair just shoots it, and it just like bangs on.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was slick. Like I was like that was pretty good.
It shows off Crosshair so well because, like, if you think about it, if someone has a good scope in a sniper, like, you don't really need the enhanced eyesight or whatever. But stuff like these show that this is why Crosshair is special.
Okay, now we'll head on to the segment after that, which is they get a mission, right? They get the mission of the whole So they are told to kill people. It turns out this is Saw Gerrera, who's also cameoed in Clone Wars, the cartoons, if I'm not mistaken. And you might all know him from Rogue One, that old dude that just didn't want to leave the planet apparently, even though like the Death Star was like that slow in blowing up just one planet. But hey, not my problem. You want to die.
So they decide that they bail. They bail after deciding not to.
But there's a probe droid, right?
Yeah, there was. That was surveying them.
They head back to Kamino. Everyone seems like they have left, but no, they've all been captured. Omega's there. One of the clones calls Crosshair out of the prison.
I must wonder, right? Like, is it just a coincidence, or like, why was Crosshair the only one? The other five, they like okay, except for Echo. Echo probably had his destroyed when he was captured. But why were the other three not as affected as was Crosshair by the inhibitor chip?
I don't know because we can also say this again. This whole inhibitor chip plot circles back, comes back later on in later episodes, and that shines a light there. But I don't know really what answer I can give. Maybe because of the fact that he was more obedient, perhaps, than the other members. But then after that, Crosshair gets his inhibitor chip enhanced. The Bad Batch find a way to escape. They get their gear. Not before their brother in Death Trooper armor, looking pretty badass.
Yeah, very cool. But it's also it's tragic as well, though, because he's betrayed them, and it's should it too? No, I didn't.
Fighting like it was a bit of like a gunfight. You think like they're about to end it, and then somehow, miraculously enough, Omega's first shot just so happens to hit his gun. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but she hits something that just gets Crosshair off his mark, and then pretty much the Bad Batch escape. They did allude to the next episode that they had to visit someone, and that's where the first episode ends.
And then we get episode 2, which is not even worth mentioning because it is the worst filler episode.
Episode 4 was cool because of the cameo, but I mean, I don't like how lots of them were just fillers.
I think we are all gonna repeat this point, but out of all these episodes so far, like in terms of this first quarter, episode 1 is the strongest, and I would say even episode 3. So we go into episode 2, titled Cut and Run. The Bad Batch and Omega seek refuge on Seleucami, with the clone deserter Cut, who tells them about the inhibitor chips which program the regular clones and Crosshair to be loyal to the Empire after Order 66. With increased military presence from the Empire, Cut plans to escape with his family, but they discover that a newly introduced chain codes are needed to book public transport. Knowing Cut would be arrested if he tried to get one, Tech and Echo steal some chain codes, and Omega helps them deliver to Cut and his family in time for them to board the transport. Hunter attempts to send Omega with Cut as he thinks she needs a family, but she decides to stay with the Bad Batch. Can I just say this right now? Episode 2 stooped in quality. It just really hit a down low.
It's of all the filler episodes, it's the most filler. Like they land on a planet, all they learn is, inhibitor chips, and you don't. That's about all the story you get.
The thing is, we already knew about the inhibitor chips. Like Tech told them about it from episode 1, I'm pretty sure. But with this episode, I know there were a lot of not many people liked it, but there were. I mean, it was nice to see Cut again, and also it was also interesting to see the start of the birth of the Empire. The start of the chain code that we see later on. But I mean, other than that, yeah, well, it really wasn't too good.
This episode had all the kind of elements that I really dislike. Remember when she's about to play with Cut's kids? They play this childlike music, and I really hated that. Just that's a me thing. I will say this: they characterize the Bad Batch as though they're stupid because of the fact that Tech doesn't say anything. And these guys know that there's inhibitor chips, but they go like, "What? You didn't say anything, hit Tech." And then it's like they make Tech this like kind of guy because he's like, "I told you guys about it. What, you didn't hear me?"
Have you ever heard of the whole high IQ, low EQ thing? Well, I mean, if you have someone that's super smart, they're bound to act like that.
Well, Cut name drops an important character in the series later on. He says Rex came here earlier, the day before, and Cut kind of acts as the guy that, hey, if you don't know where you are and if you're lost in the galaxy, I can help you, whether you're a clone or just someone. I can help you get where you need to be. But change of events, because Cut needs the Bad Batch to get them where he and his family needs to be. So yeah. So I mean, pretty much it's your standard run of the mill stuff. The chain code gets introduced, so the Bad Batch have to sneak, and the family has to go undercover, all that sort of stuff. You get your action. Really. The reason why we're not explaining this as deeply as we can is because of the fact that this episode really didn't give us much to go off of.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a little bit of how Hunter had to learn to be a father, which I realize is happening a lot lately in Star Wars. Anakin and Ahsoka, Mando and Grogu, and now the Bad Batch and Omega.
Damn, fathers can't catch a break.
I guess that's pretty much it for this episode, though.
But yes, on to episode Tres, titled Replacement. I'll read the info for this one. The Bad Batch and Omega are stranded on the moon after their ship was damaged on Seleucami. and an Ordo moon dragon steals the part they need to repair it. Hunter and Omega set out to retrieve it, but Hunter is incapacitated. My bad. Omega continues alone and is able to track the dragon. Retrieving the part without a fight on Kamino, Tarkin and Admiral Rampart put Crosshair in command of a new unit of conscripted soldiers that were sent to Onderon to wipe out Guerrera's camp. Guerrera is already gone, and Crosshair kills one disloyal recruit, but the rest comply and otherwise successful. Tarkin sees potential for conscripted soldiers concerning Kaminoan Prime Minister Lama Su. So, episode 3. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought that creature was a bit dumb. I mean, it was cool, but like it was like, oh my god, it likes light. Whoa.
So episode 3, surprise, surprise, was another filler episode, but it was better than episode 2.
If I were to rank like this first quarter, it'd be episode 1 in first place, of course, how fitting. Episode 3 in second place. Episode 4 in third place because of the cameo. And then episode 2 would be the last one because episode 2 was just the weakest link in this quarter. This was my favorite episode because I like the fact that they did a juxtapose to the mission. Like they did like almost like a mirror thing. When Hunter was on this mission, you get to see this side of the mission. So like they always cut between the two missions, the ongoing missions, with Hunter and the Bad Batch being stranded on one planet, but you also get this side where it's Crosshair and how he's being a leading man with these new fellow groups of soldiers. I want to touch a little bit on the Bad Batch stuff because nothing much really happens in that. They're just stranded. They just retrieved the battery, got in, got out, and then they just left. But on the other hand, with the Crosshair mission, there was more to it. You got to see that kind of ruthlessness.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a filler Bad Batch episode, but not a filler Crosshair episode. Like we got some good story for Crosshair, but no story whatsoever for Bad Batch.
It was pretty badass to see Crosshair. And that whole little scene at the end when he was like put down his gun and like thought about like, you know.
They just showed like straight up that Crosshair's already on the deep end. Like, he's like, hey, you either on board the program or not, and if you're not, then you don't follow my orders. And he pretty much shoots a dude. Like doesn't even care, just straight up shoots him point blank on the spot. And if anyone wants to question it, he will do the same, but everyone has to comply. This might be the most darkest moment I've ever seen in like an animated series where clones shoot down and burn a family, or at least refugees of Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit not nice.
Yeah, that was dark. Now we're heading on to episode 4, titled Cornered. A synopsis for this episode is: on their way to a proposed hiding place on the planet Ida Floor, the Bad Batch's forces stop to the nearest planet, Pantora, so they can gather supplies and tech and modify their ship's signature since it now appears on the Empire's wanted list. A landing bay attendant on Pantora identifies the Bad Batch and informs Fennec Shan, a mercenary who has been hired to retrieve Omega. Hunter, Echo, and Omega search for supplies while Tech and Wrecker work on the ship. Omega is approached by Shan, which leads to Hunter chasing Shan throughout the city. Hunter and Omega lose Shan, and after the modifications are completed, the Bad Batch depart from Pantora. What are your thoughts on this episode, guys?
Yet, alas, another filler episode, but it was cool to see Fennec Shan.
Well, I think it was. I liked how it introduced them to like one of their employers. You know, you got to see like introduced that kind of element.
I like this because I didn't know Fennec Shan was gonna be in this until people spotted her in the trailers. Like people were like, "Hey, do you guys notice Fennec Shan?" And I was like, "Is that actually her?" And then it turns out it's like, oh crap, it's actually Fennec Shan. Like for real. Like they even got the same actor doing the voice and everything. And I think she's modeled pretty accurately from her live action counterpart because this is a character from live action, so it's not that case of translating it from animation to live action. It's how they use the live action character but incorporate it in that animated kind of setting, which I think they nailed correctly. That was kind of the only strongest part of this episode entirely, because of the fact that it was a familiar cameo by Fennec Shan, who if you all know, is from The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. But other than that, it was pretty much like a whole. It was a bit of like this jokey side where they sold Echo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I liked that bit. I think that was cool with the droid.
And so I'm not worth the read.
It showed like them trying to survive in an imperial world, you know.
Omega. I'm telling you right now, Omega's like the catalyst for trouble. She's the troublemaker, honestly. That's probably her like role in the Bad Batch, the troublemaker, because she literally gets herself lost.
Yep, instantly.
I can't blame Hunter, man. I get why it's hard for him. Then I think Fennec shows up, right? Fennec shows up after that. He's like, "Hey, kid, like, let me help you," and all that. I kind of like whenever they introduce any like antagonistic characters, and when Omega's with them, because she's a bit of a almost like she's that character who's never been to the outside. I would say Amira. She's almost like Ellie, like where they've both been in like this one place for their whole life, like for a majority of their life. So for them stepping out into the open is pretty much it's an all new setting for them. So they're trying to learn. Even Omega's like, we're stealing. That's not a good thing. But Fennec kind of goes like, hey, you gotta do what we gotta do to get by, right? So almost in a way, kind of manipulating Omega to be bad and turn against the Bad Batching. It's almost like making her question her place as well. But then other than that, there was just like a fun action sequence, I suppose. It was like an on the run. We're trying to get Omega. My only thing is, like everyone hypes up like, oh, Wrecker's like big and he's like the tough guy, but he got his ass handed to him by by Fennec, and I was like, oh, he's weak. I was like, weak.
Yeah, I did think it's weird that like he gets completely overpowered and then he's just really strong later.
Yeah, I know. Like, I know they had to do the whole like, yes, like with Fennec Shan's reputation, do something about that. But also Wreckers as well. They're completely trashing his reputation. I mean, like, what was special about Wrecker was his enhanced strength. I'm not seeing much enhanced strength in this sequence here.
Even the first episode, he literally gets shot by Crosshair, and he's just down for the count. Ooh, let me mention this. Episode 2 alludes to something wrong with Wrecker that plays into later episodes. By the way, his quote unquote headache.
It does, yes. Yes. No spoilers, you know.
Honestly, that's the thing I don't like about Wrecker's character. It's I will say this. It's like the way they did Hulk in Infinity War gets obliterated by like the villain, or in this case, Fennec is like the almost Thanos like where he goes up against Fennec once and he's just like down.
Yeah, and then you see nothing else from him for the rest of the episode.
So overall, final thoughts on this one?
Good episode. I think it's one of the better full episodes, and also it's also kind of a stretch to call it a fuller episode because it has some story in it.
So it was. I mean, it was a filler episode, but it was just a fun one, and it was cool to see Fennec Shand. I didn't like how they treated Wrecker's character though, with the whole getting beaten up in 2 punches or whatever. I feel like they have this for the filler episodes. They have this like little formula. So first, they need to land at this planet to fix their ship, and while they're going, Omega runs off. They have to go find Omega. Boom, done.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's not funny at that point because you just described that is just accurate as that's literally exactly right.
Well, this was a okay episode. I really was excited because of the fact we're getting a character like a cameo from a Mandalorian character, and I think that was to me personally the only like exciting thing about this whole episode. So overall, it was though a bit story. There was a bit of story because they're still on the run. It was like on the run type of thing. It was still a bit more fillerish because they had moments. They had specific moments to kind of fill the time in. So they had to put something there, which really didn't work with like the humor and stuff. But overall, still decent. What are your rankings for the first quarter?
For me, probably 1-4-3-2.
I would say, yeah, I would agree with that as well. That's totally accurate. 1, 4, 3, 2.
I will say my ranking, and I think I've stated it earlier. Episode 1 is first place. Episode 3, second place. Episode 4, third place, and episode 2 being fourth, which is the weakest link. So yeah,
I think we can all agree that episode 2 is the worst one.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you, man. No, we don't even need no argument, no question.
And episode 1's the best.
I think we can wrap that one up. So, any last before just like your last goodbyes to the viewers, Jack and George?
Thanks for watching. Yeah. Yeah, surprised you sit around this long.
Goodbye, viewers. Thank you for watching. Hope you're all having a great day. I know it's the start of the day. Hope you have a great day.
As always, thank you guys so much once again for supporting. Your support is what helps the channel grow. Please subscribe, please like. Hope you have a great day ahead, and take care. Much appreciated. And also, may the force be with you.